Am I the only person that's genuinely worried about Tiffany Stratton? Now understand this, I am not a Tiffy stan by any means. I understand that she has a lot of talent, but I'm not like on the level of other people where they just believe that she's going to be the #1 woman in WWE. But clearly WWE sees this potential, and that's why they put the Money in the Bank briefcase on her, although I believe this was a bad idea. Because in my opinion, she just wasn't ready for this yet, but I feel like the reason why they did it was because of the backlash they got from not putting on LA Knight last year. If you remember in 2023, LA Knight was so dang over that everybody thought he was gonna get that Money in the Bank briefcase. So when Damian Priest won it and not LA Knight, a lot of people were very upset. And as the year went on, they were even more upset by this, and WWE started facing a lot of backlash for that decision. Now, obviously, Damian Priest would go on to have an amazing cash-in and also have a very successful World Heavyweight Championship run, so a lot of people just don't really care as much anymore. But just like LA Knight, Tiffany Stratton started gaining a lot of meteoric rise this year to the point where she was one of the most over superstars on the roster. And I think WWE felt pressured by that backlash they got with the LA Knight situation and decided to put that briefcase on her. In my opinion, I feel like the better option would have been Chelsea Green though. But I wasn't too mad with Tiffany Stratton getting the Money in the Bank briefcase because she had this arrogant heel character that started getting a bit of my attention. I'm not really a fan of the Paris Hilton thing, but she was doing it pretty dang well. The gimmick honestly reminded me a lot of Carmella, so I started thinking maybe WWE is not going to push Tiffany Stratton like a Charlotte Flair, but more like a Carmella. So then I was all for it until I started seeing the writing on the wall. And that writing was telling me Tiffany's becoming a face. And this is where I say I'm worried for Tiffany Stratton because this face run is not gonna work. Because someone that also got meteoric rise this year was Chelsea Green. Like, it pushed her all the way to the Money in the Bank match where a lot of people wanted her to win. And when she didn't get it, a lot of people were mad, but they weren't that mad because, you know, their second pick, Tiffany Stratton, got it. But the problem is, the arrogant heel character is what got Tiffany Stratton over. If we're gonna put her as a face, and this face run doesn't work, a lot of people are gonna look back and be like, Chelsea Green should have gotten that Money in the Bank briefcase. Maybe she wouldn't have been able to be like a women's champion, but now that we have the mid-card belt, she could have cashed in on one of them. Think of it similar to the Damian Priest run, except now think of it as if Damian Priest didn't have a good run with that World Heavyweight Championship. A lot of people would have been very upset that LA Knight did not get that Money in the Bank briefcase. Like 10 times more upset than they ever were before. So if Tiffany cashes in on Nia and that face run is just not what it's supposed to be, a lot of people are going to be mad. Oh wait, they're already getting mad at Tiffany now. Because now Tiffany is not only the Money in the Bank holder, but she's also in the Women's United States tournament, the same one that Chelsea Green is in. We're really stacking the deck on this whole face run with Tiffany Stratton because we just had her win against Naomi and Elektra Lopez while also being the Money in the Bank holder. So that potential Tiffany Stratton face run is already starting off a bit because fans are already turning against her now that she beat Naomi. Now I want you to look at the rest of the remaining tournament participants and tell me what you see. I see a heel in Chelsea Green that is extremely over with the fans. I see a face in Bayley that is extremely over with the fans. And I see Michin, a hard worker that is starting to get over with the fans. And who's Tiffany Stratton's next opponent? Michin. If Tiffany Stratton beats Michin, you know what's going to happen? Probably the same thing that happened with Naomi. But you know what? Let's say it doesn't happen and she goes on to face Bayley or Chelsea Green. How are you going to get her over as a face against Bayley, the ultimate face? It's just not gonna work, especially if you have her win the United States Championship while also still holding the Money in the Bank briefcase. People are going to start looking at it like, oh, this is Tiffany Hogan. Because that's the exact same thing that's happening to Rhea right now, where Rhea has become a big baby face, but now she's starting to get hated because of all the times that she's looking so dang dominant. Now, there is the very small potential that if Bayley beats Chelsea Green, like I had predicted, that maybe Bayley starts to get hated by the fans again, so if Tiffany wins it, people won't be as upset. But I think they're still going to be pretty upset because of the fact that there's a potential of her being a two-belt Tiffany. But you know what? Let's say Chelsea Green wins the match against Bayley. Well, now it's going to be Tiffany versus Chelsea. And Tiffany already took from Chelsea once. Do you think fans are going to be okay if she takes from Chelsea twice? But on the other hand, can you really have Tiffany lose against Chelsea Green? I mean, since becoming the Money in the Bank holder, Tiffany's looked extremely weak. And I don't just mean because of the amount of losses she's had, I mean because even in these losses, she's looked completely weak. Because there's been plenty of Money in the Bank holders to take a lot of losses during their time, like Dolph Ziggler and Damian Priest, but at least in their losses, they look strong. And I will say for Damian Priest, it was also a bit easier for him to turn face and be super over with the crowd because of the fact that we heard his whole entire story, and then he was also standing up for Rhea a lot, and Liv was going at Rhea, and the crowd probably love Rhea, so it really helped him out. Tiffany has none of that. All she has is a potential Charlotte Flair match. And that is the whole reason that we are pushing Tiffany Stratton to be a face, is because of this potential Charlotte Flair feud. Look, I don't know what WWE's issue is, but we can have heel versus heel. It is perfectly fine. And Charlotte Flair can play the heck out of a face. She is really dang good at it. But I think WWE is possibly looking at it in this way, where that Tiffany Stratton is nowhere near as good as Charlotte Flair on the mic. So if you put her as a heel, she may end up getting cooked on the mic by Charlotte. But if you put her as a face, people usually don't mind if faces get cooked on the mic. If you go back and look at Liv Morgan in her first run, she was not that good on the mic at all, but a lot of people loved her because she was a face, and a big old baby face at that. It's kind of the same thing as to why I said if Jade and Bianca feud, I believe that Bianca needs to be the heel and not the face, because Jade's gonna get cooked on the mic if she's the heel by Bianca, because Bianca is so dang good on the mic. But WWE has been known for having this issue this year with these long-term storytellings that are affecting a lot of things along the way. I feel like this whole face push by Tiffany probably should have happened a bit later down the line and not so early. Like, if you really wanted this match at, let's say, SummerSlam next year or even WrestleMania this year, we could have started pushing this whole face run like around February, March, instead of around October, November, December. It's just not happening. But I think I know where WWE is going with this to make her so over as a face, and I don't think I like it. So as we've noticed over the past few weeks now, Candice LeRae is trying to get a lot closer to Nia Jax. And this has now created some friction between Candice and Tiffany for some odd reason. So I think the angle they're going with is that Candice is going to start putting it into Nia's head that Tiffany's the weak link of this group and she needs to be kicked away. And that's fine and dandy, but Tiffany probably should have been kicked away a long time ago when she tried to cash in on Nia multiple times and also cost Nia multiple matches. So if the only reason she's getting kicked away is because Nia finally realized these things, we just made Nia look completely stupid. And if Nia kicks her away for these things, nobody's really gonna care. We've been saying that she should have been kicked away a long time ago. But there's a problem with pushing Tiffany away from Nia. The reason why Tiffany's starting to get over as a face now is because of the treatment that Nia has been giving her over the past few weeks. So if Nia kicks Tiffany out of the whole group, I could think the only thing WWE is hoping is that the crowd feels bad for Tiffany. Maybe they do some real vicious thing where Nia just completely obliterates her or something like that, or she just makes fun of her in like the worst way possible. If that's the case, it would work. But there's still a big problem that I've mentioned a few times now. Tiffany's looked completely weak this entire time, and you've made Nia look like an absolute monster. How are you going to sell it to the crowd that Tiffany could actually beat Nia? Nia that'll also have Candice potentially around her, unless Candice turns her back on Nia, which is something I predicted as well. But even if we got a Nia-Candice match, is there any possible way that Candice could take out Nia to the point where Tiffany Stratton feels safe to cash in on Nia, that she is going to be down and out? No, I think the only woman that could actually do that is Bianca Belair. And I do believe that's the only way Tiffany Stratton would be able to cash in on Nia and it to be believable, is by having Bianca Belair versus Nia Jax in an Extreme Rules match, because that's what it would have to be. Because there's no way in a regular match Bianca would be able to do enough damage to Nia that would take her out for Tiffany to feel comfortable cashing in on. But I feel like if you do an Extreme Rules match, isn't the predictability there that obviously Tiffany's going to cash in? I mean, the crowd will probably still be into it, but man, predictability. But this is the only way that I could actually see it going to where Tiffany is still over as a face. And then I guess we get the Tiffany-Charlotte match at maybe WrestleMania this year or SummerSlam. Maybe Nia versus Bianca happens at WrestleMania, which would be really cool to see, by the way, because we haven't seen a woman cash in at WrestleMania. Plus, I'm all here for a Nia-Bianca match, and it's Extreme Rules. Yes, I need that. But hey, that's it for this video, man. Y'all go ahead and let me know down below, how worried are y'all for Tiffany Stratton over, let's say, the next few years? Panic meter 1 to 10, 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest. And if you haven't already, make sure, as always, you like and subscribe for more.